Hey, what's going on out there, everybody? It's Kenny Lamons here. Welcome back to Medicare Millennials, where we chronicle our journey on building a large, successful, long-term Medicare book of business and agency. So today, I just wanted to touch on something I think will be helpful I get a question on this all the time, which is, which Medicare Advantage carriers do I need to contract with and focus on? So which carriers and plans? So I'll jump right into it, guys, because it's Friday. I'll make this a short video so I can wrap up my week. But the answer to that is different than what it would be for final expense carriers or even Medicare supplement carriers. Because unlike something like final expense, where you really could just sell one company, I do recommend you have more than one, but hypothetically, you could sell, it's a commodity more or less. You could focus on just one plan with final expense, for instance, and you're going to be okay. You could still be successful. You would not be able to do that with Medicare Advantage, most likely, unless you live in some rare place where there's only one or two carriers. Most of the time, you're going to need at least 3 to 4 carriers. And then eventually, as you get your feet under you, so you don't miss those niche cases, you'll want most of the carriers at least be contracted with them for niche cases on Medicare Advantage. So here's just a tip on what you should focus on when you're selecting and learning the plans in your area. This will guide you to who are the most predominant, most important carriers and plans for you to focus on as a new agent or maybe just a veteran agent moving into new counties and new areas. So number one, it's important to understand that plans vary greatly from county to county. So I work a very broad area. I'm here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I go as far west as nearly Abilene, Texas, and as far east as Tyler, Texas. Not all the time, but from time to time. And in one county, a United Healthcare may be the big dog. They've got all the network. They're just the most popular. And then in another county, they'll only offer one PPO plan, and Humana or a regional carrier is the big dog. It is not ubiquitous across the state or across the country or even across a couple county area. So just understand that if you're going to work a vast area, you're not going to always use the same carrier or carriers. That's number one. Number two, it is important, guys, just to figure out what is the most well-known and popular plan in that county. Now, if you're doing the right thing by the client, you're doing a full needs assessment, you might not always recommend the most popular or well-known plan, but oftentimes, if it's apples to apples or very similar, trust me, you want to know what is the reputation of this carrier in this area. And if it's head and shoulders above the other carriers, your retention is going to be a lot better by using the more popular and well-known plan in that county or that area. So keep that in mind. That's important to know, because people talk to their friends. They go to the senior center. They go to drink coffee at the donut shop, whatever. They talk to each other. And if there's one plan that everyone has, and it could potentially be a good fit for them, but they're not on it, guess what? Hey, I've got a guy. You can get on this plan I've got. So keep that in mind. That's important for retention. Here are just some factors to help guide you, and you'll learn this from experience, but up front, just know network is king. Benefits can be as flashy as they want to be. Copays can be as low. Premiums can be as low as you want them to be. That's all fine and dandy until your customer can't go to a hospital, a clinic, or see a doctor or a specialist that they want to see. Then all of that goes out the window. Who cares? If they're going to be so ticked off that they can't go to a facility or see a certain doctor, you're going to get in murky water with that client. So I just recommend you learn these networks. You call these popular doctors' offices and hospitals and double check and verify which plans do they like, which plans do they accept, which plans cover all of those facilities and most of those doctors, etc. So network is super important. And then, of course, you want to consider things like rich benefits. So certain plans will offer certain things that others don't. For example, I have a couple of regional carriers that just have phenomenal dental and vision. It blows the competition out of the water. So that's a tool that I can use if all the other pieces fit to set myself apart. Also things like transportation. This is changing in my area, but there was only 1 or 2 carriers that really provided transportation to the doctor. And now more and more of them are offering that. But if somebody's unable to drive, that might be the number one selling factor. So you've got to identify the plans that have those key benefits: transportation, dental and vision, food cards. There's even some carriers that offer pest control. Imagine the value you bring to somebody who maybe has an infestation problem if their plan will cover pest control services. So look into rich benefits that can actually bring value to customers. That'll help guide you to the plans you'll use frequently. And then finally, guys, you can't forget this one. This is so huge. It may be the number one driving factor for plan selection. Excuse me, it's not Corona, I promise. That last factor is plans with very good comprehensive drug formularies. So even if a plan has a slightly higher copay for a hospital stay, if it saves them $150 a month on their prescription drug plan or on their prescription drug costs, and you'll find, they're going to stick with you. You are a lifesaver, a life changer. And this is just a forewarning. Like, I'm not Mr. Compliance Officer here, but just my personal advice on that is you better write down their list of drugs and put them in the carrier website or check it against the drug formulary every single time. Don't ever make assumptions when it comes to drugs and drug formularies. Focus on that as it's going to be a key value adder and money saver when you're out there being a advisor to these people on their Medicare. And you will find, typically, that one or two carriers are head and shoulders on average above other carriers on covering drugs. So that's another thing. Another agent can't come in and say, well, I can save you $5 on your copay, but your drugs are going to go up $150 a month. You're in good shape. You put them in the best spot. I talk too fast sometimes, but I wanted to get through this, make this video quick. I hope that gives you guys a little bit of guidance on answering the question, which carriers for Medicare Advantage do I focus on? Which plans do I focus on? If you take the concepts that I gave you and apply them to the plans in your county, you're going to be successful, and you're going to find that there's a handful of plans that typically fit best in your area. Hey guys, please like and subscribe. Even if you don't watch every single video, I really love to see you guys subscribe and throw a comment down there every now and then. Let me know if we're providing good value to you or not. We'll talk to you guys next week.